Paul, I'd like to start by thanking you for joining us for what is going to be your first RaithTV interview of the pre-season. Obviously, you're standing in for John, who's having a few stomach issues looked at. So we're going to go through the pre-season programme, the results and the performances, and a few other things as well. If you're ready to start, we'll get on with it.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so we kicked off pre-season with a game up at Tannadice against Dundee United. Decent performance and a win by all accounts. What did you take from that first pre-season match?
Yeah, it was a fantastic performance for our first game in sort of 6.5 months. To put on the display the players performed on the day was fantastic. The main thing in pre-season is trying to get the guys' fitness up for this Saturday coming. So that was the first one out of 5 games. We knew it would be a difficult game up at Tannadice, and it was great to play on Tannadice on the grass pitch, because we're going to have to play on a lot of grass pitches this season compared to last season. So it was a good test on the grass, a good performance. Obviously a goal from Reagan and a debut goal for Manny, which is great for a striker coming in to score early. I know myself as a striker, you go to a new club, you want to score your first goal. So it was a good all-round performance and very pleasing to see Manny get his first goal.
Good, yeah. Then after that it was friendly here at Starks Park against Falkirk, who came with a real mission in mind to put on a performance and a show. What can you say about a defeat at home to a team that was in the league, the same league as you before?
You mentioned the word friendly there, and Falkirk came here and played it as a championship game or a League One decider, and we should have done exactly the same, and we played it more as a friendly. I felt certainly the first half there wasn't a lot in the game, and we certainly got back into the game when young Quinn Coulson scored. But just after that we made a few substitutions, and it was nothing to do with substitutions. Falkirk were very, very strong that day, and we certainly let ourselves down the last 30 minutes in the game, and it just proved a point. It was probably hopefully a good lesson to get at that time of the pre-season, that we'll have to be really up for it at every game and have to be at it, or teams will run over the top of you, which Falkirk did on the day.
Yeah. And after that, it was a chance to bounce back, and we certainly did that against Thennismuir. 5-2 win with Reagan Tumilty getting onto the score sheet for the first time, Manny with another goal, and good performances as well. Main points for you from the Stenny game? Yeah,
again an all-round team performance. Passed the ball about really well. We were slack on a couple of occasions. We scored a good early goal, and then we lost concentration and lost 2 quick goals to Stenny. But we bounced back, and after the Falkirk defeat, it might have been a wee bit difficult for the players, but they picked themselves up from 2-1 down and came back out and won really convincingly. And again we could have scored more goals, and another good pleasing performance.
Yeah, and we kept that run going. We got the bit between our teeth. And Berwick Rangers, another one of your former clubs.
There's a few.
There's a few, yeah. They were good enough to oblige and fill in that gap at the last minute when the Queen's Park game was cancelled. And a 4-0 win there. Manny again, Dylan with 2, and young Quinn really making his mark.
Yeah, it was great, as you said. Berwick helping us out. Queen's pulled out because they had so many injuries. They pulled out on the Wednesday, so we managed to get Berwick to fill in on a Saturday, which was great. And again, it was a beautiful day. The pitch obviously was a wee bit wet as well, which helped the surface. And again, it was a really good team performance. And you've touched on the young boys, which we've done with Ziggy last year and Dylan Tate coming into the team. We've brought Quinn Coulson and young Aaron Arnott's played a few games for us as well. So when Luke Mahadi's, we've signed young Luke Mahadi from Celtic. So we've managed to bring these young boys in and get 15-20 minutes at the end of games, which is great for them as well. But a great team performance. But I thought individual on the day, I thought Dylan Tate was absolutely outstanding on the day.
Yeah. And after those 3 games here on the Astro, it was back to grass. Reiterating a point you made earlier at Brecon there on Saturday. A lot of Rovers fans were lucky enough to be able to watch it because Brecon were streaming that game live, so they would have seen a 5-0 win. And again, some good performances all over the pitch from a lot of players.
Yeah, and again, 2 clean sheets, back-to-back clean sheets, which is important. We lost too many goals last year, so it's good to the style of football we play. We're always going to be open at some, in some games, but it was certainly very, very pleasing to get 2 clean sheets. I thought Davo and Benny were outstanding in both those games. and again, as you say, the team performance, passed the ball very well, and there was a hell of a lot of rain, and there's quite a bit of water lying on the pitch. So again, a great team performance.
Yeah. And in that performance, our new signing Ethan Ross, who's joined us on a year's loan from Aberdeen, he set up a goal, scored himself. What impact has he had in that game and in training since joining us from Aberdeen?
Yeah, Ethan's a player that we've sort of touched base with Aberdeen possibly a month ago, but he's had a slight back injury, so we had to really wait on him, and we were delighted to get him in. He only trained on Friday before the Brecon game, and we could see he's got quality on the ball. He's sharp, he's very quick, a great touch, so we could see that in the Friday in the training, and I think he certainly took that into the game on Saturday. A fantastic goal and a good performance from him for 60 minutes. With Ethan, we're going to have to try and work on his fitness, because he'd only had 2 weeks pre-season with Aberdeen, so we'll have to watch we don't overwork him in the training, and just gradually bring him up to full fitness, and he can play 90 minutes.
A question that we always ask in these interviews, it became like the weekly update at times. The injuries, we know that Regan Tumulty's taken a bit of a sore one. What's the overall injury picture at the minute?
We'll try and go through them. Neil, you might have to keep me right on the ones. Regan trains Monday, so he managed to come through the training session Monday. We'll see how he comes in tonight, and hopefully he'll be able to join in full training tonight. Brad Spencer trained on Friday and trained yesterday, so he's back into full training. So 2 big positives from there. Louie Vaughan. Louie met with Professor Keaton, I think 10-12 days ago, and got a guiding injection into his hamstring, so he was told to rest after the injection, and he'll come back into training Thursday night, Friday morning. The good news on Louie is that he's getting no pain whatsoever off that hamstring now, and fingers crossed Louie will be back into full training come Friday, and his overall fitness is good, and just hopefully this hamstring pain's away. So that would be a massive bonus for himself, and obviously for the football club, if we can get Louie back involved.
So that's the positive news on guys coming back from injury in the very near future. What are the rest of the injured players looking like?
Yeah, Big Fernandes obviously had a very, very tight hamstring, so we'll monitor him. We're hopeful he can maybe come back into training Thursday and Friday, but we won't push that one, because the last thing we want to do is push him back, or he comes back too early and he has a recurrence of that hamstring injury and he's out for 3 or 4 weeks. Goze's had a slight improvement in his groin, but again we'll just have to monitor that. That's taking a wee bit of time. And on Frankie's obviously had the foot injury, which we were thinking it was probably going to be 6 weeks, but he's starting to weight bear on it, so hopefully we might be able to shade maybe a couple of weeks off that one, but we'll just see how that one progresses over the coming times.
A final question, just overall, what's it been like getting back into pre-season training and then preparing for matches in these restricted times, with players turning up at specified times and getting straight onto the pitch? Do you think it's affected you negatively, or have you've coped with it?
No, I think we probably had a wee bonus, because we spoke to a few of the clubs in the Premier League, and they told us how the routine was working, the protocols were working. So I think myself and John knew what lay ahead of us, and I think the players have adapted really, really well to it. It's not ideal. It's not ideal that you go up to Brecon on a horrible day and the players can't get a shower, after the game. But I think, as I say there, just repeating myself, the players have adapted very well. Myself and John have had to adapt that we're only Tuesday, Thursday, only got a single session instead of a double session. But hopefully, looking ahead, things will hopefully clear up at some point. We can get back to a wee bit of normality, and it would be fantastic to have the Rovers fans back in supporting the team.
Well, normality returns sort of on Saturday when we play East Fife, but we'll talk about that game later in the week and make that interview more specific to the East Fife game. But for now, Paul, thanks for your time and good luck.
Thanks, Neil.